Alright, I tried filming this video the other day and it didn't work. So here we are again. I'm home alone at the moment. I don't have a ton of time, so this probably will be a bit quicker than normal. But I've got some other stuff I want to do today, and this is kind of my only day off because I've kind of thrown myself back into doing all the overtime I can, because I've got like a 2.5 week road trip coming up in like a month. So I'm just, you know, I haven't finished booking everything for that yet. But I kind of wanted to talk about just a couple things real quick, since it's been a little while. The last time I filmed one of these was before my last road trip, which was already a month ago. First of all, that was fantastic, a lot of fun. Like I had mentioned before, I was excited to work on like photography and stuff, and that is what I did. If you want to see some of the pictures that I ended up actually liking, and I'm still posting them, you know, as the days go on, you can check that out here at my photography Instagram page. I would appreciate, you know, at least looking at it. But, you know, follow it if you like it. After that, Kaylee and I went to Charleston for her birthday. Number one, because it was her birthday, but she also wanted to see Amigo the Devil play with a full live band, which this was our third time seeing Amigo the Devil, but we had never seen him play with a full band before, and it was fucking wonderful. We hung around after because Kaylee wanted to get a picture. So I brought a few records to have signed as well, which I don't have to show you all of them, but I will show you that I'm fucking thrilled to have gotten this record signed. This is up there with like holy grails for me, even without the signature. So this is a very, very cool part of my collection, and I'm thrilled to have it. But after we talked to Danny for just a little bit, Kaylee had mentioned that it was her birthday, and he told us to hang around so we could have some drinks. So that's what we did. We hung around. We went backstage afterwards. We you know, just spent like an hour or so talking, drinking. It was a lot of fun, man. It was a very cool experience because obviously Kaylee and I both have a lot of love and respect for Amigo the Devil, so that was wonderful. The very next day, I found out that Trevor from the Black Dahlia murder had very, very sadly passed away, which is something that hit me way harder than I ever would have guessed it could have. I was lucky enough to meet Trevor about, 2015? 7 years ago? Holy fuck. You guys know how much I love the Black Dahlia murder. It was literally an integral part of my sort of journey into finding heavier music. So for this video, I didn't bring this CD over here, it's over there, but we're listening to the first Black Dahlia murder album, Unhallowed, which has a couple of my favorite songs of all time on it. Obviously Funeral Thirst, Elder Misanthropy is on now, and Closed Casket Requiem are literally unbeatable in my opinion. So what a horrible fucking thing. Very, very sad. And though I was lucky enough to see the Black Dahlia murder a total of 16 times over the course of 12 years? 11 years? So it's very, very sad to know that I'll probably never see the Black Dahlia murder live again, because I assume they're gonna hang it up, though there hasn't been any official statement. So yeah, very sad. The first thing we're going to talk about here is actually not metal at all, but this is something, when I saw this was happening like last September or so, I was absolutely fucking floored. Like, this is something that has been sorely needed for at least 15 years. Well, the last album came out about 15 years ago, but this is the Coffin Shakers with Curse of the Coffin Shakers, 1996 through 2016. So luckily for us, Fart Records got a hold of, I guess, just the rights to all the Coffin Shaker stuff, and gave us the represses that we so very sorely needed. This is a box set of the first two full-length albums, well, the only two full-length albums, and it also includes two compilation records. They're both called From the Crypts, Rare and Unreleased, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And, you know, in that there are Coffin Shaker songs that I've never heard before, which for me was very, very exciting. And literally everything on here is just wonderful. If you're not familiar with the Coffin Shakers, it is a, for the sake of simplicity, just call it a country band. But it goes a little bit beyond that here, because some of these songs have almost sound like kind of surf rocky, while other songs sound more like rock and roll. But I think at its core, it's safe to call the Coffin Shakers a country band. It's wonderful. Like, I mean, literally, the self-titled Coffin Shakers album from 2007 is probably top 10 favorite albums of all time. Don't know where in that list it would be. If I really sat down, it might not make the list at all, but I would be surprised if it weren't in the top 10. It's fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. The front cover is just the bat logo with purple bats. The back, you have all the track listing. Like I said, this was put out through Svart Records. And the spine, you got the Coffin logo. Man, I hope Svart Records does Coffin Shakers like shirts, because I would love to have one of those. Alright, quickly, this does include We Are the Undead, which is the first Coffin Shakers full-length album from 1999. I do have the first press of both the full-length albums. But even if this didn't include the two compilations, I still would have bought it because it's the Coffin Shakers. This first album is absolutely wonderful. The song Vampires Don't Cry, you call it Graveyard, I call it Home. No Rest for the Wicked is probably my favorite on here, but this is also where Black Sunday and Pale Man in Black are. So, yeah, wonderful. I'm not going to pull all of this stuff out, though I will show you. This box set does include a booklet, which here is just a bunch of flyers for live shows. That's the front of the booklet there. This is basically a really long interview with the Coffin Shakers. Mostly Rob and one of the other guys. But it also includes big band picture in the middle and all of the lyrics, which is very, very cool. The original albums don't include the lyrics, so that's a very welcome addition to the package. It also includes the self-titled full-length from 2007, which has, like I said, this is one of my favorite albums, like of all time. The song Evil, Phantoms of the Night, Transylvania is maybe my favorite song on here. The song Necromancy, Walpurgis Night, like all of it. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, Last Night Down by the Grave. It's wonderful, man. From front to back, this album is a banger. I didn't mention it at first, but all four of the records are on purple vinyl. They also did it on black and red, I think. Now, these two are the reason I was so excited about this box set. Because, like I said, it's just rare and unreleased Coffin Shakers material. Basically, everything the Coffin Shakers ever did is on this compilation. I don't think there's anything missing. I'm not certain about that, but yeah. So both of these are full of stuff that are, you know, a lot of the stuff I have heard before, just because I've heard everything from the Coffin Shakers on YouTube over the years, like anything that I don't own physically. But yeah, man, both these records are fucking great. I've played them through a bunch of times now. Yeah, wonderful. I can't express how happy I am to, you know, to hear Coffin Shaker stuff that I've never heard before. But I'm still holding out hope that one day we'll get another Coffin Shakers full-length album. Rob seems very, he seems very sort of into his Underground Fire project right now. But I'm hopeful. I'm not very hopeful, but I'm a little bit hopeful that one day we will see new Coffin Shakers material. I mean, they posted about being in the studio like 6 years ago, so I don't know whatever came of any of that, but yeah. And finally, the last thing that this comes with here is a tattoo flash sheet, which I do have framed, and it's actually normally hanging in the bathroom I have down here, because that bathroom is loaded down with like tattoo flash. So this was very, very cool. All right, I've got to move on. This is already taking too long. So if you like the idea of like old sounding country music with themes about like, you know, murdering your wife and vampires and stuff, then the Coffin Shakers is perfect for that. Definitely give something a shot. It's all wonderful. That's the Coffin Shakers.
In the night air, boneless eyes staring out from the darkened floor. We kill without discernment.
Alright, I've got to speed this up a little bit. The next thing we're going to talk about here is a 2022 repress of an album that came out back in 2005. And I was really excited to see this get another repress. I guess kind of the first proper vinyl press of this version of this album outside of a picture disc. This is Devourment with Butcher the Week. This was given a repress back in like 2017, but it wasn't this version of the album because as we know, I think this was the original version. I'm almost certain that this was the original version of Butcher the Week. From what I understand, and I'm a little bit cloudy on the details, Devourment released this album and then signed to like Brutal Bands or something in 2006 or something like that, and maybe signed a contract where they had to release like a couple albums, something like that, but chose to re-record Butcher the Week. I don't know why, I don't know the details. To be honest, I don't even really have a preference between the two. I mean, whatever, like they're both fucking great. I mean, they do sound a bit different, and you can tell which one you're listening to, but I don't care, I like them both. So Devourment is a very heavy, almost like slammy, brutal death metal band, obviously. But Butcher the Week is the first album with Mike Majewski on lead vocals. And I don't know, this might be my favorite Devourment full-length album. I love all these slow, like heavy, slammy parts that Devourment uses, especially around this time in the career. But there's a lot of really good groovy moments on this. I love the vocal performance. The drum performance has a lot of character in it as well. Yeah, man, really no complaints. The album cover, I think was done by Mike Majewski. Fuck. I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it does say MM, and I was thinking Mike Majewski anyway, so that's probably right. The back cover just has all of the song titles on it. It's was put out through Corpse Gristle. If I had to choose any favorite songs on this, Serial Cocksucker, Tomb of Scabs, Anal Electrocution, Fuck Her Head Off, Baby Killer, one of those. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just like this whole fucking album. Masturbating at the Slab's another good one. Yeah, it includes a inner sheet, which has all the lyrics. And on the other side of that, you have some additional artwork and a shot of the band with a little dedication to Wayne Knupp there. Oh, the universe doesn't want this video to happen. All right, this was put out, like I said, through Corpse Gristle, but I think there was 4 different versions of this. And like the Molesting the Decapitated, I went for the, I think they call it like Dallas Star or something. Dallas Star Splatter. Very cool. I like that there's like an empty line with no splatter in there. Very cool. Limited to 100 copies, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. So, fantastic record. I really like all the Devourment stuff. But for me, the first 3 are the best. But I also really like Conceived in Sewage as well. And the most recent one is good, but to be honest, I've only played it a few times, and there's not much that I remember about it. So I'll have to throw that one on again. But this record is an undeniable classic of like brutal death metal. So if you haven't heard this, then I don't really know. You probably just have no interest in it. But if for some reason you haven't, and it does sound like a good time, give it a shot. That's Devourment with Butcher the Week. This is embarrassing. This band never clicked with me until like 2 months ago. And I don't know why, because I know years ago, probably about close to a decade ago, I listened to a bunch of stuff from this band, like all over the discography. I bounced around different songs and it just didn't do anything for me. I have no clue why, because a lot of other bands that sound kind of like this, I really love. And I'm talking about this. This is Toxic Holocaust with an overdose of death. So, yeah, everybody here knows Toxic Holocaust. And there's a good chance that like 90% of you liked something by Toxic Holocaust. I have no clue what the fuck is wrong with me. It just never clicked. And recently, like I said, a couple months ago, I decided to, well, I don't even know that it was a decision that I made. I think I just kind of came across the song Nuke the Cross, which is probably, it's actually definitely the most popular song on this album. But I fucking loved it. And seeing that it was on this album, I decided to play the whole album through. And dude, from front to back, this is a motherfucking banger. For me, the song Future Shock is my favorite on here. I mean, it's a fucking undeniably great song. And this record from front to back is packed with great riffs. I love the feral, snarly vocals. I have no complaints. Honestly, a lot of this kind of reminds me of Ghoul. You know, like kind of maybe earlier Ghoul, like splatter thrash era Ghoul. And I fucking love Ghoul. I've always loved Ghoul. But for some reason, when I know I played something from this years ago, and it just never clicked. But I'm glad that it did now. Better late than never. All those records are out there now and I can just go get them. And I probably will, because since then I have listened to more stuff from throughout the discography. And it's all great. I think Evil Never Dies is probably the next one that I'll get. But I also really like the one with the Cobra on it. Something of Consciousness. Chemistry of Consciousness, I think. That album's got some good songs on it as well. So I'm definitely going to wind up with more Toxic Holocaust, but for now, this is what I've got. There's the album cover. This is also my favorite of the Toxic Holocaust album covers, for sure. Absolutely love it. There's the back there. I assume this is a Joel Grind. I'm almost certain that it's him. This was put out through Relapsed Record. You have all the track listing. The inner sheet, that definitely was Joel Grind on the back cover, because that's the same jacket there. Yeah, you just have some credits and shit on this side and all the lyrics on the other side. The vinyl itself is very nice. This is a newer press of this album, but the vinyl itself is really cool. Yellow, green, purple stripes, very nice. Limited to 1,000 copies, by the way. So though I am kind of picky with like the thrashy stuff, this I do really enjoy. Pretty much without exception, this album, like without exception, I like every song on here. So I'm glad that I finally joined the party along with everybody else. And like I said, I'll definitely wind up with more Toxic Holocaust in the near future. But for now, that's what I got. So if you've never heard this one, give it a shot. That's Toxic Holocaust with an overdose of death. Alright, moving on. This is a 2021 full-length album from a Finnish black metal band, which is another one that I actually tried years ago, and it didn't catch me. But I went back recently when this came out, the vinyl press of this came out, and it clicked. I'm talking about this. This is Morgal with Nightmare Lord. So back in like 2018 or something, Morgal put out that self-titled EP, which when I heard it at the time, I thought it was good, but I just didn't really hear anything like special. So I kind of just, I left it, figured maybe I'll grab it down the road or something, and just never did. Well, when I saw the Werewolf Records YouTube page put this album up on the YouTube page, I I listened to it and it's really good, man. It's honestly, it's not as good as a lot of the other stuff in the Finnish black metal scene, but like, I guess you really couldn't expect, you know, every new Finnish band to live up to, you know, some of that shit, because like the Finland black metal scene for me is probably as good as it gets. But regardless, this is a great record. Very cold. A lot of the riffs are quite good, and there's some good melodies on here too. The vocals are very sharp, but they're kind of, you know, your typical sort of black metal wretch. Really, it's just a good album from front to back. I also really like the album cover because it is very different for this style of music, which I appreciate. Keeping with the theme of that EP, this band has some of the best fucking band pictures ever. You have all the track listing, and this was put out through Werewolf Records. A great band picture on the gatefold there. Very, very cool. Look at that motherfucker's face, dude. This comes with a sort of classic, like, collage on the inner sheet with all of the lyrics. And you could get this on 2 different versions, like vinyl versions. One being black vinyl, and then you have this really, really nice gold with heavy black splatter. Looks very, very good. However, I will say, one of the things about this, when I first got it, for at least side A, I was reading along with the lyrics. And it's a little bit hard to read along with the lyrics because the vocal patterns are very kind of strange. And it almost seems like some words kind of cut off right in the middle, which is weird. But because of that, and I didn't read the lyrics on the B-side, the first couple times that I listened to this, it sounded like the album ended. So I got up, turned it off, put something else on, whatever. And then somebody messaged me and asked if my Morgal vinyl had like a big gap between the second to last and the last song. And I didn't know. I had to go actually look. And sure as shit, it does. I don't know if you can tell. Hold on. There you go. That right there. That dead wax is in between 2 songs. I have no clue why. So, you know, so when it went quiet, I just kind of assumed it was over. But no, there's a gap between the second to last and last song, which is strange. And I don't think Hell's Headbangers knew about it, at least not at the time, because that guy told me that he messaged Hell's Headbangers, told them there was, you know, this issue, and they sent him another copy, and it was the exact same way. So I assumed the whole run is like that. I'm guessing they probably know about it at this point, but yeah, it is kind of a bummer that a whole run of records has a pretty significant defect, because there's no guarantee that your needle will make it from that second to last song on its own. But yeah, man, really good record. It's also, I didn't mention it, it's not really made up of like a bunch of notable names from the Finnish black metal scene that I'm aware of. I know one of these guys played for Armor, but it might have just been like a live instrumentalist or something. And Armor's not even a black metal band, so yeah, this isn't like made up of a bunch of names that you might recognize from the black metal scene in Finland, but I like that. So if you haven't heard it, give it a whirl. It's good shit. That's Morgal with Nightmare Lord. Alright, god damn it. Next up, we're moving to the Czech Republic for some Carcass-inspired grindcore? Death grind? Something like that. But first, I had to change, CD was over, so I put this on. I just got this yesterday. This is the new Spider full-length album, the first Spider full-length album, which is called Bathe the Babe in Bat's Blood. If you like Shitfucker, or like Devil Master, that kind of thing, you'll like this a lot. This is fucking fantastic. I'm super happy that this band put out a full-length album, and Hell's Headbangers did it. So the vinyl press should be here later this year, and I'm definitely gonna grab that as well. But for now, I got this, and it's fucking great. All right, so anyway, next up we got Pathologist with grinding opus of forensic medical problems. Like I said, this is a Czech band which formed back in like 1990. So though this is like very, very Carcass influenced, I mean, it came out pretty, you know, this band was kicking pretty close to around the time Carcass was putting out their earliest albums, at least. So, you know, regardless, I'm always happy to hear more like early Carcass-inspired stuff. And though I'd heard this band in the past, I didn't remember much about it. But Dark Descent had a sale pretty recently, so I grabbed both the first full-length album and this one. This is just the one I had out, which is why I'm deciding to talk about this one. And this album came out in 1993, and like I said, it was the second full-length album. But I fucking love this. Like I said, it is very Carcass influenced in like the riffs, and obviously like the imagery and the lyrics are very like sort of Carcassy. The vocals in part are pretty Carcassy as well, but they're most of the vocals here are very deep and gurgly. I was listening to this about a week ago, and Kaylee walked in and kind of like stopped and listened for a second, and she literally laughed and said something like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" And that's how you know it's good. So this has been pressed to vinyl by a few different labels over the years, but this is a, I think, 2021 repress through Extremely Rotten. I love the album cover. Fantastic album cover. And this band's logo is fucking crazy as well. There's your back cover there. Like I said, Extremely Rotten. You got all the track listing and a shot of the 4 guys in the band. The vinyl itself is just black, so I'm not going to pull it out, but it's just got the logo on it. And this does include some band shots, information, and you got all the lyrics as well. Very cool. So, in the interest of speeding this along, I'm not going to talk too much about it. If you like early Carcass and for some reason you've never heard Pathologist, then definitely give it a whirl, man. Fucking great. That is grinding opus of forensic medical problems. Moving on, second to last album I'm going to talk about here is actually not an album, it's a compilation of another kind of death grind band. This is Fluids with Fluids of Death. So this is a compilation that was put out, I think it was put out a couple years ago, but it was put to cassette, and just last year, I think, Hell's Headbangers did the vinyl press. Which is very welcome. I love everything I've heard from Fluids, and at this point I'm pretty sure that with this compilation, I'm pretty sure I have everything that Fluids has put out, at least all the material. I have full lengths for sure. I have the Pharmacist split, and this, which might make up everything, right? Maybe? But it's easiest to describe Fluids as being like, if you like Mortician, then you'll like Fluids. That's the best way I can think to sort of sum up the way that this band sounds. And since I'm like real short on time, that's what I'm gonna leave it at. I love the album cover. Very, very cool. Obviously Faces of Death inspired album cover with some fucked up pictures on it. I like the caution thing up here. It says, although rated, the brutal and graphic subject matter may be unsuitable for those under 18, those with weak hearts, or those of a delicate nature. Which is cool. And also, I think anybody who's been on the internet for more than 15 years probably remembers this fucking horrible video. There's the back over there with more disturbing images and all the track listing. And the inner sheet includes an autopsy photo, which is quite cool. A shot of the band with some information too. Also, that guy lost his face. This band has been around since 2018. They formed like in Arizona or something. But they've actually built a pretty decently sized discography up to this point. And it's all good stuff. I mean, it's all kind of in the same vein as everything else they've done, but it's all good. Oh, I don't think I showed you the record. I actually didn't show you the record. 100 copies on red vinyl. It was also on black vinyl as well with 400 copies of those. But of course I went with the red. If you've never heard Fluids and you like stuff like Mortician, there's no chance you'll have any problem with this. So give it a whirl. It's Fluids with Fluids of Death. Alright, it feels a little bit shitty kind of even putting the effort into making one of these videos when I have to rush it like this. But I literally don't know when I'm gonna have time to film another one of these before my next, 2.5 week trip. And I wanna get another one of these videos out. So let's finish this off with something that I've had for years. And you know what? I honestly don't know if I've ever talked about this band or this project on this channel, despite how much I like it, because I own like 6 records from this project, but I just don't know that I've ever talked about one in a video. But I realized that I only pulled out 6 albums, so that ends now. This is Commodus with Imperial Sun Rises. So Commodus is an Australian project, obviously, that sort of was created back in 2017 and really has built a pretty decently sized discography as well. Like 4 demos, 4 splits, a full-length album. But this is, I think, the 4th demo from 2019. And this is probably my favorite of the Commodus material. I like that there's a nice balance between being raw but not overly raw, and there's a lot of good melodies on here as well. I love the howly vocals on here. And this album in particular is cool because I like the concept of it, or at least I like what I think the concept is. I mean, like this guy here, don't know his name, but he's all over the packaging here, so I'm assuming maybe it is sort of themed around him. But I mean, really the guy was, from what I understand, and this was a cursory look back when I bought this, this guy here was an author turned revolutionary who attempted a coup that failed, and I guess to preserve his honor he committed seppuku. So I'm not like certain that this is what this album is themed around or anything, because I don't know enough about this guy to like reference it with lyrics or anything. But it's very, very cool regardless. So the album cover, I love it. I definitely prefer this cover to the Go to War X version, which was like a red cover with like a rectangle with a picture, with this same picture in it. But yeah, the cover, the sun extends to the back. This was put out through Bestial Rape Records, and this is BRR001, which is quite cool. The inner sheet is a picture of the same guy, and on the back side you have the picture of that same guy in the middle of his seppuku ritual, which is very cool. So another cool thing about this is it actually includes like that guy's death poem in the middle of the album, which I think is just kind of a cool little addition to the record. The vinyl itself, I'm pretty sure that I know what the limitation is, but it was never specified, so I'm not sure that the information is supposed to like just be available. So I'll keep that to myself. Though what I do remember, is that this record's color was randomly chosen by the manufacturer. And it actually ended up being a really nice color for the, to match the cover. So that worked out nicely, if it's true. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, man, Commodus. I like everything that I've heard from Commodus. I'm pretty sure I've heard it all too, but really, who knows? This band releases, or this project releases shit pretty quickly. And I have most of it. So if, you've been thinking about giving Commodus a shot and never have, I guess here's your sign. Give it a whirl, man. This shit's great. That's Commodus with an Imperial Sun Rises. And that's it, guys. Fucking 7 records. I'm literally out of time, so I gotta wrap this up. But thank you for sticking around. I'm gonna try and get another one of these filmed and uploaded, hopefully before the beginning of July, but who fucking knows. But until then, stay tuned, and we'll talk soon, guys. Later.